Undoubtedly, my plate has never been fuller, and the news has never been more important. This country is in the middle of a developing civil war that is economic and political. There is a civil war going on within the intelligence agencies, within the federal agencies, within the government in general, within corporations, and within our own neighborhoods and cities and states. All across the world, nationalist movements are all ahead in the polls in every major election to pull out of globalism. Globalist viceroys have been basically installed or force-fed through the media into office all over the globe, and the public is awakening in explosive fashion to this. The technocrats, the megabanks, the monopoly men are in full panic, but have decided with bravado and chutzpah and arrogance and complete hubris to intensify their operations. Something big happened today, and I'm going to be covering it at the bottom of the hour. It's huge. Remember a few years ago, we covered Jade Helm, where the military openly admitted they were training to occupy and dominate, quote, the human domain overseas or here. I'm not against the military. I'm against our military being prepared for martial law while the Democratic Party tried to prepare the civil unrest that would bring in the martial law, and then a suspension of our basic rights, a suspension of the free press. All of that, since I first warned of Jade Helm 2.5 years ago, has now basically come to pass. They've admitted they want to censor the press. They admit they want an overthrow of our institutions. They admit they want a socialist, globalist reorganization or reconstruction or Marshall Plan in the West to fully break our will and complete our journey into centralized technocracy, corporate fascism on the top, communism and socialism on the bottom to control us. That is the global model. And now The Intercept, and now Reuters, and now Zero Hedge, why they all have gone and gotten the latest Army documents that just got released from planning a year ago, where the military's been told, prepare to take over every town, every city, and the entire culture because the United States is going to collapse. Exactly what I told you the plan was. Precisely. Now, the media got so freaked out, Intel and globalist operators got upset because we had their plan decoded, reverse engineered, that they came out and said, oh, Jons says they're going to invade in August of 2015 and take over Texas and take your guns. I never said that. But to discredit us, they created the straw man. The straw man to then be able to say, oh, look, Alex said that Texas would be invaded. It never happened. Or Alex hates the military and says they want to kill their own citizens. And I had some military people walk to me on the street and they go, Alex, I just really like you, but how dare you say we want to take the guns and kill everybody? And I said, are you not training for gun confiscation? Are you not being ordered to these drills and maneuvers? Well, we just like to, you know, the training. Well, we'll never follow those illegal orders. Oh, so I am right that you're being trained for that. Some of these were officers saying this to me. One of them was a colonel on the street. I said, listen, I'm not blaming you for any of this. I'm trying to stop it. I'm a citizen. That's what I'm supposed to do. But that's how they spun it as a psyop. Coming up later in the hour, I'm going to break it down because it's all come out now. Pentagon warns in their own reports of unfavorable dystopian future for world's biggest cities. Now, that's the Intercept's angle. But when you read it, it's for total takeover of society to stop that. Coming soon to a city near you, the U.S. military plans to take over America. Yeah, that's what it says. I mean, Obama's Rural Commission said they're going to run, especially the small towns where they believe there's going to be resistors to gun confiscation. Oh, but that's just in the Army videos, the Army documents. I'm just the guy, document cam shot please for TV viewers, that walked over to the shelf today and pulled this off the shelf. Oh, the Jade Helm folder. And everything we wrote, everything we said, all documented, now being admitted. Why? Because we had it from leaks, we had it from pieces of documents, and we had it from our deep research. And now it's exactly what we said. The New York Times spun it. Oh, Jons said they were going to take over, but it didn't happen. See how they do it? And now, a few years later, oh, Pentagon training videos, open admission. Society's going to collapse. The military's going to be in every town and city to make sure it doesn't. Now, if we had a real collapse or something, that'd be fine. The issue is it's being engineered to then bring in the military, who the citizens trust, to then establish the tyranny, and then the bureaucrats come behind them. That's how it always worked. When the communists took over Russia in 1917, took them 2 years to just get Moscow under full control. Then they ordered the military to go out and to have the local provincial leaders hand in their firearms and announce that they would serve under the Bolshevik communist system. And because it was the military everybody knew, and it was a lot of them with their families, they said, absolutely. They turned their guns in. The military went back. Tens of thousands of officers, more than 20,000 in 1 year, were all arrested, tortured, and executed. Now the Bolsheviks came back with the weapons, and the reign of terror began. This is a program. You have to understand that the same big banks in New York and London ran that whole operation in Russia. That's a historical fact. That was even in the Public Affairs Washington Post piece about how the Kremlin is starting to worry about Trump. And it said in there, boy, I bet Germany wishes it wouldn't have let the Bolsheviks come through Germany into Russia, because when they overthrew that, the Bolsheviks tried to overthrow them. And this revolution is going to overthrow everything. So Trump's not a Bolshevik, he's a patriot, but we all need to stop him because this contagion is too dangerous. Wow, sophisticated. And what they're really saying is, we'll back off and pull our shadow armies out, our Soros operatives out, Russia, if you help us burn Trump, because he's a threat to us all. So the same globalist grandchildren, the grandchildren of the people that did this to Russia and Germany and other places, are now set to carve this country up like a big old Christmas hog. And it's up to all of us to be smart enough to understand what's happening. But here it is. In all the big, super respected journals, The Intercept, Greenwald, oh, The Guardian, all of them. But, I mean, back at the time, it's like Obama Science Commission, Rural Affairs with the Pentagon over all the small towns. And then I went and looked at the actual manuals, and then they leaked some of them. And the Pentagon said, yeah, those are real manuals that Alex Jones has, where it was talking about rounding us up with Social Security numbers and processing the men into one area and the kids into another and the women another, and taking the troublemakers to re-education camps. And it used the term re-education camp, which is a Soviet term. And then the media said, Jones says we'll be in re-education camps this summer. I said, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I said, see, that's, and you watch. They'll do it again today, probably. Jones says that we'll be under martial law. Well, actually, if Michael Moore has his way, we're about to be. Oh, see how we're maneuvered into that. I've been warning the whole time so the military and the police and people understand and are decompartmentalized to see the big picture. And yes, I know what I'm talking about. And yes, I don't just have my own research. I'll leave it at that. And a lot of good people in our government made the decision that they did not want to be part of completely destroying this country and then literally ending the free press as we know it and bringing in the long, dark night of tyranny. But that's where this country is, and that's why they had planned to get Hillary Clinton into power. They'd already put out a book that came out in January, already written it a year ago, about global government under Bill and Melinda Gates, led by Hillary Clinton, and you guessed it, Bill and Melinda Gates, for a world government to, quote, promise free health care. That's right. World government's going to give you the promise of free Bill and Melinda Gates vaccines, always completely tainted. Here it is, governing global health. And the news is asking today, weeks after we covered it, why is no one covering this book about global government? Because they admit it failed. And now the whole plan to have Hillary and Oprah Winfrey and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation lead a worldwide plan for sterilization, forced inoculation, you name it. But, oh, we're not a military, even though we have guns. We're here to help. We're the new global health corps. Oh, isn't that sweet? Tyranny coming disguised as doctors. Nobody's talking about Chelsea Clinton's new book, including Chelsea Clinton. The Heat Street asked, why is that? Because we blew their operation. And that's the good news. Trump has put them in such disarray and exposed them and derailed programs that were already in so much trouble that he's already a fabulous, giant hero, and it's historical. And there's a lot of paradoxes in this because Goldman Sachs put every bit of money they had against him But now their stocks at all-time highs, just like a bunch of other stocks are, because so much prosperity is now seen and so many opportunities. But they wanted a managed economy where they made less money, but other people had less, so theirs was worth more. See, they want a monopoly. They don't want everybody to have a rising tide. So they're still working against him, even though the policies he's brought in created such a bump in the stock market that their ship got risen the most, because they're already gaming it with high-frequency trading and already skimming off the top. So the little guys all got something, but the big fat cat got even more. But it's all up there pissed with hundreds of billions of dollars they just made in the last few months. That's admitted. Associated Press still gunning for Trump. Because, see, they don't want you to have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. I'm going to skip this break. And they're all announcing they don't care. The federal agencies are in total revolt. The FCC, the State Department, they say we're still going to shut down the new press. Trump's Twitter has been hijacked where they only let negative comments at the top so he can't even see them and can't see your communication to him because he'll retweet it or he'll read and see what you said. They know he's looking at Twitter. I mean, they've got him so isolated, folks. It's not even a news item. I even run a little news operation. I can't get any of the crew, even though they're aware of it, they're great people, to like make it a focus that the president's Twitter is being censored. There's a Trump-Netanyahu press conference going on right now, and I'm just not even going to go to that because we know that he's pro-Israel, and we know that that just means that that we're not going to, like the WikiLeaks showed with Soros, overthrow Israel. So that's a good thing because Israel's got nuclear weapons and that could cause World War III, but we'll play parts of that later. Let me just read you some of these headlines, okay? Because as I said, later in the hour, I already started getting into it. I'm going to get into Pentagon openly admits plan to take over the United States. That doesn't mean they're coming next week. It doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean they're going to slit our throats. They've been ordered to get ready for collapse as the good guys while the globalists create the collapse. You understand? Then once the militaries come in and once that's been normalized, then all the spooks and all the control and all the rest of the garbage happens. And I'm not stupid. I know why the military the last 3 years has been reaching out and wanting to come on and, oh, we're just patriots that just happen to show up where you're at. And I tell people, I go, I know you've been encouraged to come and be friends with the show. And I understand you are a friend. That's why you were chosen. And I don't mind having you guys, you know, close here with your CIA orders. But let's just be clear. It's so I can tell you what's going on, not because I don't know what's going on. And it's happening because they had a press conference 3 years ago. We covered it. I'm going to get into that. At the Pentagon saying, we promised to stop lying. The public doesn't trust us. We've been ordered to lie, but we're going to stop now. But we are going to go and infiltrate, move into every local town and every media outlet to help work with America to stabilize it. And these guys all believe that side of their mission, while the whole Soros side is to undermine it and bring it all down. So it's a sophisticated situation, but don't think I don't see the whole thing. Okay, let's continue. Don't think I don't know that I have to worry about the globalists and Soros, but also have to worry about the RNC and the Republicans that know that INFOWORS pushed Trump over the edge with populism here and that we're a powerful engine of resistance. So the main threat to my life is the Republican leadership. Just like Trump says at this time. They're just going to use left cover with all the comedians and more and the rest of them saying kill Trump, and organizing organizing the overthrow. That's how crazy this whole situation is and how close to the edge we are. So if you don't want tax cuts, if you don't want to secure our borders, if you don't want to bring back $1 trillion that's been in big mega banks they won't bring in, if you don't want to kill NAFTA and GATT and all these scams and one-sided trade deals, and if you want to have a weak military and you want to be pathetic and you want to have folks running the government that are absolutely out to get you and your family and dominate you and who don't want prosperity, if you want monopolies, then everybody, whether you're liberal or conservative, go ahead and get on board with that scumbag lunatic Michael Moore and Nancy Pelosi and the rest of them. And all the media tarts that say they want to open the borders to radical Islam, but they don't ever want to go to Somalia and get gang raped or sold on a slave block. Michael Moore calls for Hillary to be installed. Told you that was coming. Oh, the conspiracy theorist is right again. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm on target. Michael Moore calls for Hillary to be installed as president once Trump arrested. Told you they'd beat that drum months ago. I laid it all out. And I said, if Trump ever balks and ever cuts one of his people, thinking they'll give him a sacrificial lamb, There'll be blood in the water, and they'll say everybody's a Russian, and everybody's got to be arrested. We got to take over the media and shut down the free press because the Russians are everywhere. And now, in the Netherlands, Wilders is in the lead, and so they're saying he must be Russian, the nationalist for 20 years over there. And the same thing with Le Pen. She's in the lead. The Muslims are burning cities down everywhere. They won't even call it Muslims. They say anti-police riots. So everywhere it's the Russians. The Italians want sovereignty. Oh, it's the Russians. The magical, you know, you don't find a leprechaun at the end of a rainbow in a pot of gold. You find the Russians. Political solid gold. Unstoppable. Invincible. Impenetrable. The Russians, ladies and gentlemen, cooked my eggs this morning. They cooked my bacon. And it's embarrassing to say. They helped me put my boots on. They helped me clean my nose and brush my teeth and wash my butt. I'm just going to be honest at this point. I have an American flag behind me because I'm actually a Ruski, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's continue here. Michael Moore, an admitted globalist agent, calls for Hillary to be installed as president once Trump arrested. INFOWORS.com, far-left filmmaker in deranged Facebook rant. He goes on to say, Flynn was told to talk to the Russians because he knows his viewers are complete idiots. And they're like, the president, man, the national security advisor talked to the Russians? Remember, Hillary went and negotiated TPP in secret, helped write it, gave speeches, wouldn't let Congress see it. And they said it's executive purview of the president. The president could go meet with the Chinese president, the Russian president, if he could politically survive the heat. But under the law, for a week behind closed doors if they wanted to. That's why you elect a head of state. But you can't even trust that commander-in-chief now. He's a Russian. There's the headline right here. Michael Moore claims Trump a Russian. Well, if he is, we need more like him. Thank God the Russians want to make America great again. Now, you think about that. And let me tell you what Trump needs to do right now. Trump's saying, hey, we need to arrest these leakers. What they did was illegal. You know, what Flynn did wasn't illegal, but I'm getting rid of them for not remembering everything. But let me tell you, this is illegal, how we're being spied on and how it's being given to the media, and that's a felony. And Congress admits that. That's not strong enough, bro. We're putting out a report today that has all the mainstream articles where the Chinese government, the Saudi Arabians, the Pope, everybody was there saying they were giving money to Hillary. They were against Hillary. Against Trump. They were trying to prop her up. They were doing all this garbage 100 times what the Russians could ever do, and Saudi princes were bragging that they gave money, 20% to Hillary. Where is Trump on this? Where is Trump saying, you Democrats are crazy? This is completely out of control. The leakers who exposed General Flynn, ladies and gentlemen, even leftist publications are having to admit absolutely committed felony crimes. Now they're saying Flynn may face felony charges for lying to the FBI because the FBI came to him. They were already recording him and had access to the NSA. They said, you talk about sanctions. No, we talked about setting up a meeting with the president over the phone. But the Russians mentioned, we want to talk about this on the agenda. And Flynn said, I can't talk about that, but I'm sure the president wants a clean slate so that can be discussed. So technically he did, technically he didn't. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to INFOWARS.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. INFOWARS Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You gonna sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you gonna be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.